Super Mario Odyssey, TowerFall, and York. This is Staying In.
Do you want to know what I did today, lads?
What have you done?
After, well, the thing is,
It's been a big day for me.
it's been a big weekend that we've just had, and I'm sure we'll talk about it
Maybe.
in a minute. Maybe.
But you want to talk about something about you first. I'm
Yeah,
sensing.
Rather than, talk collectively as a group of friends, let's focus and really zero in on what Pete likes.
There's something very specific that Pete wants to talk about, everybody.
Yeah, that no one else can really contribute towards.
Okay.
Let's focus on what really matters, and that is that I got 250 stars in Super Mario Odyssey.
First of all, they're not called stars, they're called moons. But anyway, we'll carry on.
Well,
a special reward.
Was that just Alex popping in and going, "You get a star, Peter. Well done."
how many times did you fall off the ledge? Only 4.
You get a
Okay.
star.
Did you eat the controller again? No. Have another star.
Checking the bed. Oh, well done. You made it through the night.
You made it through the night. Well,
Yeah. Well. So 250 moons. That's what I've got. So I've got the second ending out of the 3 that exist. And I'm done. That is an exciting time, Sam. I'm glad I now have my Switch, and I'm glad that you encouraged me to pick one up, because I really hate 3D Mario games before this, and I picked up Super Mario Odyssey, and now I think I really like them, and that's definitely exciting and worth...
Were you not a fan of Super Mario Galaxy?
No. I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand what the appeal was. I didn't really understand. I didn't really have a Wii for a really long time. That's why I got another star. And I didn't really...
Just severely dehydrated.
Yeah. I got really put off Super Mario 64 because I always like the level-based stuff of the 2D games. I really like the 2D Mario games, but the 3D stuff always put me off. The exploration, all of that kind of thing. I just never really gelled with it, and I just skipped most of them and then dipped in for 5 minutes and was like, ah. But I actually gave Super Mario Odyssey a bit of time, 15 hours of time, in fact.
I think one of the reasons I'm the same with you about 3D Mario games. They've never really clicked with me, but Super Mario Odyssey does. I'm yet to get anywhere close to what you've done. I've not even finished it for the first time yet, but that's mainly because I've just got a lot more going on my Switch, and I kind of like dip in and out, and I use Super Mario Odyssey as a bit of a palate cleanser. Like, I really enjoy just doing a level, as in, flying to another space in my big hat ship and going to another level and just completing it and using that as a kind of sorbet in between other games on the Switch. And I think for me, and Dan might be able to correct me on this, especially in regards to Super Mario Galaxy, and I don't know what it was like in like Sunshine or anything like that, but the big difference to me is that, you've got these big open 3D levels that you're exploring to find these moons, but the overall arc and the story is a lot more compelling and pulls you through, I think, because you're always chasing Bowser. So it's not like Bowser's already taken the princess and has her locked away. Like, you are actively on the heels of Bowser and the princess and those weird rabbit people that he has following him around. So I think because there's a bit of more of an impetus and a thrust getting you through and pushing you on from stage to stage, that I found a lot more compelling, rather than I just need to find enough stars to open up this next painting portrait, then go into that world, find enough stars to do this next bit, and the next bit, the next bit, the next bit.
I think the thing that really grabbed me is that, like, it just from like minute 1, the game is just like, just experiment, just look around the environment and be playful, be fun, be silly. If you think you can do something, give it a try. And invariably that pretty much always pays off.
Incredibly, every single time I've gone, oh, I wonder what's over there, or I wonder if I do this on this, I've always been rewarded, and that is exceptional.
Yeah.
Do you tend to play it more like handheld or plugged in and on the big screen? I'm just really curious with Switches. Is there any other like Switch games you're more likely to prefer playing on the big screen, or ones you'll play exclusively in your hands? Let's say.
I actually played it half and half because I got about 7 or 8 hours in on the train back from the stag.
The stag.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
In a minute.
Hello.
And the other half of it was played plugged into the television. There's also a bit of a wrinkle in all of that, Chris, because the game really encourages you at the start to play in, like, basically, I can't remember what it's called.
Joy-Con mode.
Is that what it's called? I was going to call it Maraca mode, which I think is better.
It's a better explainer for what you're actually doing, yeah.
You essentially have...
If only it made that sound when you moved it.
If you haven't used a Switch before, you can... you get 2... smaller controllers that plug onto the side of essentially the tablet, and the game really wants you to play it in Maraca mode, because it will allow you to do little gestures, like motion gestures, and that will let Mario do different moves with the hat. So you have Cappy, who's a hat, and it gives you these special abilities. Like, mostly it's about throwing your hat onto enemies and then going into their minds and then using their abilities. So, for example, you can be a Goomba and use all the Goomba's powers, or you can be a Hammer Brother.
And that's the main mechanic, like, throughout the whole game.
It's a big part of it. I mean, the main mechanic is platforming. But,
yeah, sorry, not mechanics.
It is a big, like, it is a big part of it, yeah. And figuring out how to use their different skills and abilities is a huge deal. But basically, the motion control stuff, there's a few that are tied to the way that you move move in motion, and they're rubbish. I just think I'm just not a fan of motion controls, and doing them on a tablet is a bit harder in tablet mode, where you actually playing it as a portable, versus playing it with a controller on the television. It's a little bit easier, but I think it plays. I think it plays really well in both.
It's
basically. So yeah, I think the thing that I really loved about it that got to me was how precise they are at engineering fun and smiles, right? Like, you play it and the designers know exactly which buttons to push to make you feel fun, like to make you really feel like you're having fun, to make you laugh, to make you go, oh, that was unexpected, in a really nicely surprising way. And I was just really blown away. So I blew through it in 15, 16 hours. And I've really, really enjoyed it. And for me, it has been a palate cleanser, Sam. But it's been a palate cleanser in between other games now. So it's I'm done with the game, and I'm now going to move on to something more serious, right? So I did Rise of Industry, and I was like, yeah, okay, something really fun like Super Mario Odyssey, and now I'm going to move on to something a bit more serious or something else.
Another city building management game.
Well, if I'm lucky, I don't know, might get Ace Combat or something. But yeah, something a bit chunkier, if you know what I mean. Something a bit more. But yeah, it's very good. Surprise!
I have to say, the other thing about Mario Odyssey is that, and this is something I noticed with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, is that the music is some of the best music I think the official Nintendo band, as they're called, have ever produced. I think it's exceptional. Yeah. I would spend time in worlds that I was finished with just to carry on listening to the music.
That's great. I love that. Yeah. I love that.
Has anyone else been really hungry today? Like, really hungry?
Yeah, actually, weirdly, yeah.
No.
Well, that is weird.
I know.
I saw you eat 5 sausages on Saturday, Chris.
Well, me and my partner have had to have pizzas 2 nights on the trot.
Oh, what a horrible world we live in.
I know, because the date was up today.
Oh, God,
what problems you do face, Chris? I don't know how you cope with it.
Each one was for each one's like for a small family, Dan.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm sure at some point the Charity Miles app will put in your cause as well, Chris. But it does do something to you, doesn't it? Like going out and being amongst the fresh air. And like doing activities and being always on with other people, it definitely makes you. Well, it made me hungry.
Yeah, I think it's just more that I'm currently in possession of about 50 bags of salt and vinegar crisps.
Oh yes, I made sure to leave those with you.
Absolutely,
something's awoken inside me.
Chris, can we do a major beat analysis?
Yes,
a hit
whistle
list.
stop tour.
A hit list. So this was my stag, my pre-nuptial, the second stag, really, the beta stag after Frankfurt.
Yeah. We worked out all the kinks, the bug testing. We went
gold.
Yeah, so this was in the city of York over the weekend, and 11 of us, so the fathers of both households alike in dignity, us lot, some family members of yours, Sam, and some mates as well, all congregated together in a converted farmhouse in York. I was ever paranoid about making sure that you were okay, Sam, but also, crucially, that the fathers were going to be ingratiated into the group. So I made sure that I actually risk-assessed the stag do using my own works risk assessment template.
Oh, you did? God. I saw it. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
The two things I was mainly worried about were running out of food and drink. Clearly that didn't happen.
Clearly.
Sorry about the crisps.
Yeah.
And making sure that you and the fathers were happy. So I thought, I'm going to put all my attention on you, Sam.
Thank you.
In my capacity as best man and you as a stag. And I thought, I'm going to delegate the fathers to Pete and Dan.
So this was like in the build-up to before we...
Yeah, this is in the build-up to the prep. You knew nothing of this.
No,
so I said to Dan, Dan, can you take charge of Sam's dad?
And I said, yes, that's absolutely fine. Leave it with me. Not a problem. I'm happy to go and have a chat with him when we're there.
That was the extent of our conversation on the matter.
Yeah, that was it. Done, dusted.
Yeah. Because that's all to be fair, that's all I needed to do.
Yeah.
And then I asked Pete, will you do the honours of looking out for Lisa, Sam's fiancée, her father?
Yes.
Done. Except it wasn't done.
Oh.
Because, Pete, you're a man who is incredibly thorough in your job. You require a significant amount of prep before you jump into anything.
Yes.
And Sam showed me, Lisa actually showed me a little bit of a snapshot of the conversation you had with her as you grilled her for details about her father.
Right. I think grill is a bit of a bit much.
No, okay. I've seen the text. I'd say grill.
Grill. Okay.
Yeah, it was very Paxman-esque. Okay, so what the salient point about Lisa's father was that he used to be in the RAF. So, what did you do?
Well, I decided that I would read a book about the history of the RAF so that I could...
As any normal person would.
So that I could make conversation with a man who was in the Royal Air Force.
And how helpful was that research, would you say? I'll give you a percentage.
Well, I think, on a scale of 0 to 100?
Yeah.
0 being no help at all, 100 being really useful.
Yeah, like you changed his life. He's actually gone back into the RAF.
Right. I'm coming out of retirement.
Rocky.
I would say, I don't know. It's not an accurate measurement, but I would say probably 0.
Okay.
Actually, no. I'd give you a couple of points because it came useful in telling us things about the RAF.
Yeah.
That's true.
You kept insisting on just reciting RAF facts to me in the back of the car.
Yeah. Well, I thought you'd be really interested that, the entire tonnage of bombing in World War I could be fit into 12 Lancaster bombers from World War II.
There you go. I mean, I'm happy to pepper these facts throughout the podcast. I'm not sure the listeners will be. We turned up at the farmhouse,
yes.
All convened. We went to the local pub, except we didn't because that pub is closed. It doesn't exist anymore. Yes. It's now a house.
We still went to it.
Yeah, we did. We just stood outside somebody's house.
Yeah.
And then we went to the second local pub, which actually is still a functioning pub. The stag and his group arrived. We all got merry. We drank. It was lovely. Made our way home. Took full advantage of the hot tub.
Well, some people did.
Yes.
Not everyone.
No.
Really.
Yeah.
You're recounting all this, but meanwhile, I woke up fully clothed in bed.
Yeah. You weren't fully clothed. You somehow managed to undo your belt.
All right, okay.
Like you started.
Well, that's good.
It was like the couple of points of percentage that Pete got for his RAF vaccine use. He made it some of the way, but not 100%. And I'm quite glad you didn't get 100%.
And I think that it sounds almost like to you, Chris, that you were happy with that. Like, no, well, I'm not going to go take this any further.
I'm going to push it. No. I literally did say those words quietly under my breath as I walked in.
Just like, oh, well, he's obviously happy as he is.
We also briefly played Sam Bingo. And I assumed that would be a durational exercise, which we play over the 48 hours we're there. It pretty much finished in about 2.5 hours. People got a full house.
Did they?
So what was, I can't remember, what were some of the ones that were on the...
Well, these all came from Lisa. And I said, Lisa, can you just give me some of kind of Sam's quirks? And I used the term quirk. And Lisa just seemingly just gave me all of his bad habits. And I put that on a bingo.
Just to be clear. And so... Obviously, if you haven't played bingo, because I think it is quite a British thing.
Yeah.
Bingo is basically, generally, you'll get given a grid, and usually in the grid there are numbers, and there is a person at the far end of a very smoky hall, usually, calling out numbers. And if you can create a line of numbers, then you stand up and you shout "Bingo!" And then you get a prize. Basically, that's bingo. So it's a very it's a very straightforward game, but it's fairly popular.
I mean, we had things like Sam throws clothing on the floor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Sam gets so drunk he goes cross-eyed.
Yep.
Sam pours vinegar over any food. Mm-hmm. Sam laughs so much he wheezes. Sam attempts a northern accent, and Sam gets sick. And I think all of those were done within about 30 minutes.
Wasn't the one which was Sam gets handsy?
Oh yeah,
only during the night though, Dan. So it was a lovely event. We woke up the next day. We played a nice little hangover cure. I did everyone a cooked breakfast, and you assisted me, Pete, as my fantastic sous chef.
Oh, he's wonderful.
You're brilliant. Those eggs were fantastic, Pete.
Thank you.
And then you cracked them, and we boiled them in the pan, and they were just even better. They were great.
The eggs, by the way.
Yeah.
So for good scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
Get a lot of air in there when you're whisking them in like a measuring thing. A lot of air with the whisk.
Yeah.
Little bit of herbs if you can get them.
Is this an RAF recipe or is it?
I was just thinking.
No, it's not. But I mean, I can get in touch with the RAF if you want and let them know about it. If you think it would be useful.
There would be a lot of air in RAF eggs. You'd assume.
That's true.
You also did a salt and vinegar crisp tasting as well.
I did. It all happened, to be honest.
Blind tasted 8 different flavours, and what flavour did you find was your favourite?
Co-op.
Salt and vinegar?
Salt and vinegar was definitely the favourite. And it was a co-op Guernsey salt and Chardonnay vinegar crisps.
Really taste the Guernsey.
So if anyone wants to send those through, it's P.O. Box... number
staying in.
It's worth setting up a PO box just for the crisps. If anybody wants to see the scoring chart,
yes.
I will make sure I put that up on the soch when this goes out. So it'll probably be linked to in the show notes. In fact, you know what? It'll be linked in the show notes. So
it's fine.
You can just look at that.
Just less work for Pete to do.
It's just easier. It's fine. So what else? And so did all that.
We did football golf Saturday morning.
Football golf.
If you're wondering what is foot golf, it is exactly what you think it is.
The name creates itself.
Yes,
on the activity.
It's basically rounds of golf, but instead of using a small metal bat to put small white ball.
Club.
You mean a golf club?
Yeah, I didn't learn much from that PGA Tour guy.
A golf bat.
A golf bat. To put a small little white ball into a hole. It's not that. It's kicking a full-size football into a much larger hole. But still the idea of, like, it's 150 yards, par 4, playing by the same rules of, like, playing, match play in golf, like, you know.
And it's great fun, actually. And the rain stopped just as we kind of got through our first hole. It was lovely. It was a great time.
FootGolf is a great normaliser.
Yeah.
Because
It's a perfect way to begin a stag. Everyone bonds around a very simple sporty activity.
Is that... Where did you read that?
It's just a guess.
Oh, right, okay. Well, it worked out well. The biggest mistake, the biggest regret of the stag weekend, and to be honest, I didn't really know where we were going and what we were doing for most of the time, was that at no point did I ever turn on my Charity Miles app.
I turn it on all the time.
Which is becoming a familiar tale. And mainly, I should have guessed to turn it on when Chris started leading us with directions. Because if Chris leading the way has taught me anything at any point in my life, it's that we're never going the right way.
It's true.
It's that it's just round this corner means let's clamber over something incredibly dangerous.
It was realising this weekend that Chris takes a wholly holistic approach to directions, and it's not necessarily where something is, it's where something feels like it might be or might appear to be over in that direction.
Oh, sorry, I was amazed we managed to find one of those rescue boxes again, like we did up Scarfell Pike, but in the city of York.
So I apologise. I mean, I apologise to... I will make it up to our nominated charity for all the missed miles this weekend.
Got to get on it.
So I've got to get on it. But obviously, we're not doing this on our own. There's lots of people making up for our mistakes, which is life. So I've just seen Dan sit down with his sheets. He's zoomed into his Charity Miles studio, and he can give us an update live on the scene.
Well, what would you like to know? Where would you like me to start with my update?
I think, have we had any new people join? Can we say hello to some lovely people?
We've had quite a few new people, actually. So we'd like to say a big thank you and a welcome to Chris, not you, Chris, new Chris, Winston. Winston, welcome.
Brilliant.
Superkmx as well. Adamski.
Hello.
Adamski.
There he
awesome.
is.
Yeah, so he's been on. He's already putting in some big numbers.
Yeah, I knew he wouldn't let me down.
He's taking the slack.
There's a few people who are kind of working in our team who are very much carrying the heaviest load. They really are.
I think those are people who generally know us best.
Yeah. We also have Andy Barton.
Hello, Andy.
Hello, Andrew.
We have Robyn Z or Robyn Z.
Hello.
Or Robins.
It's like my mate's nan who thought Boyzone was Boys One.
Well, the Z is separate to the Robin, actually. So
Robyn Z has been putting in some good miles.
Yeah,
so.
and then
big numbers.
Finally, and the most recent new recruit to the team is someone who goes by the name of Plopsworth. So
Brilliant.
Welcome, Plopsworth.
Fantastic. Thank you, Plopsworth. Those could all be initials, Dan. Let's not rule that out.
That could be, like, the thing is, though, now, foreign listeners might be thinking, oh, that sounds like a rude name, but it's probably a member of the landed gentry.
Yes, definitely.
Like, that would not surprise me if that was a baron or a peer.
And the miles they're doing are literally the daily walk round the estate.
Yeah. Or from their lounge to their other lounge.
I won't take the quad bike today.
No. Popsworth, where's the dog?
Please, Master Plopsworth, please do get in touch. If you're a member of royalty, please do get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.
They have a dog called Jasper, but pronounced Jasper.
And it's got it's got a middle name as well.
So Dan, so let's fully clothe ourselves in glory. So how much have we, just the four of us, walked and raised so far?
Well, so far, and I took these figures shortly before we started recording. So far, this year, we have done...
Just the four of us.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
a total of 380 miles.
Okay, brilliant.
Just us four.
That's not bad.
That's running and walking.
So over 100 miles a month.
Yeah, and then our fantastic teammates collectively, they're beating us, but there's more of them.
Yeah.
And they're better than us. They've done just over 530 miles. So we're kind of flying at the moment. I'm really happy with how it's all going. So far, at the moment, altogether, we have raised a grand total of just over $220.
That's really good.
A variety of charities.
That's really good.
Even a small amount, every little bit counts, and it's going really well at the moment. And also, I'm winning at the moment. So,
and it's only March.
It's only March. So, our target for the year is $1,000. So, it'd be all right.
We're on course. We're doing okay.
Okay.
Let's keep it going.
Absolutely.
So
let's pray for inflation.
So thank you, Dan, for joining us from the Charity Miles update chair.
Boom.
There we go.
That's my theme tune for the day.
I think that's also Countdown's theme tune.
Oh, God.
I took you to some bloke's house, Sam.
That was a little bit weird.
That was a bit weird.
Even
Chris.
though everyone... Well, it didn't help that as soon as he got to his front door, you all just stood back, leaving Sam to just go forwards.
We have to be clear. We literally walked out of York Centre into the suburbs and then walked up to a random terrace house and knocked on the door.
I was also a little bit unnerved, thinking, what have I paid for?
And there was nothing there to indicate that this was any kind of business, this was any kind of, like, official residence of anyone. And someone asked me, who's your favourite celebrity? And I was like, no one that I know that lives in York.
And lives in a random terrace house.
Yeah, so then I was really paranoid that you were going to open the door, think that I really liked John Binglesworth from that programme in the 90s, and here he is, he's living in here, and you're going to have a one-to-one...
Nicholas Lyndhurst.
Yeah, you're going to have a one-to-one meeting with this person, you don't know who it is. And I didn't know who it was. And we went into the back of his house, and he was a lovely chap. And at first I thought, like, is he a children's presenter? Like, are we going to have, like, some sort of adults, weird children's party? And then there were some puppets in his...
Yeah, that was a little bit unnerving.
In his conservatory. So were we going to do, like, have, like, a puppet workshop?
Yeah.
And
I thought we were going to die.
I mean, to be fair, Sam, we knew what we were doing, and it was still unnerving.
I think that's what I think. And then I started to get those waves of heat, you know, that you get when it's just like
he leant on the hob.
Yeah, I just need, you know when you get that feeling where you just need to, like, say, can I just step outside for a moment?
No, I can understand it's a little bit weird, but then it's all right because then he took us upstairs to his front room. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Took us into his back bedroom and everything became normal.
Yep. He led us into his professional recording studio, and Chris handed me the lyrics to 3 songs, which apparently I'd previously chosen in some of them.
You had. We went for a meal, like the 4, me, you, Lisa, and Veronica, and I was saying to Lisa, how am I going to find out what kind of songs that he's going to be up for singing in this? Because I don't want to just pick the songs. His favourite songs, because it's kind of a group singing activity. Not everyone may know them. And also, what if he picks something that's purely instrumental? That might be tricky. So Lisa...
Which I wouldn't put that past Sam.
Lisa, well, yeah, because yes, I wouldn't mind either. But Lisa proffered to him, so just casually just said, well, if you had to organise a karaoke, which songs would be on the list? And Sam quickly rattled off these 3 songs. And I made a quick little note of them on my Google Keep app. And I thought, I'll save that for a rainy day. And so, yeah, I sent it to this guy. So this is Precentor Studios. Fantastic bloke. Real nice guy, John.
Yeah. Joking aside, he isn't a murderer.
No, not
He's
at all.
actually a very, very nice guy.
Honestly, he was such a
really
safe
nice
pair of hands. I've sent him an email today saying, look, if you want me to put like a little quote on the website, because he's got that from different stag parties in the past about how good he was. I'm more than happy to do that because he was brilliant.
Oh, please do that, Chris, please, because
I will do, genuinely, because he was fantastic.
I think that we have all performed before. We've done performing stuff, and because the idea is that we had these songs. He was like, right, we're all going to record one, and it was like me and 10 other people, and like I'm happy to act in front of people and sort of play the fool, but I still find singing like really disarming and like really difficult to do in front of people. And
which is why I brought beer. Like my bag was just full of beer.
That was also important.
Yeah, so was mine.
But immediately, like, John was really good of kind of like just creating that really nice atmosphere. Like, he knew that we were all absolutely shit. Like,
100%.
Yeah.
Some of us have certain abilities and special qualities, but there was not...
Pete's a very good mime.
Yeah. There was not very many of us who had, perfect pitch or could really, hit it. And I don't think it would have been... I think if someone had just stood up there and started, like, full-on singing it would have killed the mood a little bit. Like, well, great.
Yeah. it helped that everyone kind of felt they were in the same boat.
I really wanted to find like a secret singer.
Yeah.
Like in that episode of The Simpsons where they just hear Barney just singing like beautifully majestic. I really wanted that to be like Lisa's dad or your dad, Sam. Think, oh my! Although actually,
my
your
dad
was Sam.
Yeah. But
and you, that's all the Turners.
But John was fabulous, and that I think he must do this a lot, and he fully cottoned on to the fact that we were there just to have a good time and mainly laugh at me trying to sing "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal
with your brother-in-law.
With my brother-in-law,
who actually has that as his ringtone. It's his alarm on his phone.
Alarm, he's got a new alarm now.
So it was a lovely duet.
And then we went from there and decided to tackle the ambitious Queen intellectual property, which is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Obviously.
A light and frothy in under 2 hours.
In under 2 hours.
Because I didn't have enough money to fork out for the full
week-long experience.
No, for him he just locks us in. We're not going until we've nailed the song.
But again, John was like, okay, this is something we can do. And we, I still don't know how we managed it.
No.
Well, auto-tune.
Well, yeah, there's auto-tune.
I think I found out that I sing very slowly and in a Cornish accent. I was listening to it again today. Pete put it beautifully. He said it sounded like Hal from Space 2001 getting unplugged.
And then, and still my favourite thing about that track is one of my favourite things. There's many brilliant things about that recording. Is Dan singing?
I was singing a line like it was a nursery rhyme.
Easy come, easy go.
Little high, little low. It was just like fabulous. Just his like innate paternal singing style came out of him.
But it was Pete who had us covered. Pete, you were genuinely, like, my partner's listened to the track and she says you've got a very good voice, Pete.
You were.
I'm not being sarcastic, genuinely, and I agree with her, because actually what you do very well, Pete, is you've covered a lovely bass tenor, but also you can go very high. So you and Ed, for the really high bits of Galileo, were just, it was brilliant, because obviously, but what makes Bohemian Rhapsody such a difficult song is just those massive, almost often discordant shifts in tone and pitch.
Well, I've got discordant down.
Yeah,
nailed it. But so it was just wonderful, and Duncan's kind of really, really quite sinister.
Duncan's reading of some of those lines was sometimes profound.
It was.
It was like looking back on it, remembering that as an experience. Every time I looked around the room, there was always someone laughing or smiling or trying to stifle a laugh. Yeah. Like, there was never a point where, we were all taking it really seriously, or there was not something to laugh at.
And he kept that in the audio. You can hear us laughing in the back, which I love.
It was also really, like, good-natured.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, like, because it you're right, like, it is like bearing your soul, right? Like, there is a bit of it where you're like, oh god, I'm gonna do this really weird creative thing, and then
you hear Chris for some reason slipping into a Cornish accent during a line of Bohemian Rhapsody, and you realise, hang on, we should all just be having a bit of fun. And...
Nothing really matters. And he had to speed me up.
Nothing really matters to me.
And it still sounds too slow. But no, he was
cool.
fantastic. And and I think that just... And actually, joking aside, when it's all of us singing like "Mama," that's the best bit for me. That just sounds great. Even he was surprised.
It's quite funny as you listen to it. Kind of because we recorded it kind of sequentially, line by line.
Yeah.
And as you get to the end, you can tell by this time everyone's had a little drink. Everyone's much more confident now because we've all had a go. We all know we're all a bit shit, so everyone's kind of in the same boat. So we're all now just giving it some welly, and it then becomes a little bit like a football chant.
Stag FC.
Because because no one cares anymore. No one's kind of being shy about it. They're just kind of being happy and just singing along to Queen, and a song that everyone knows.
It was a football crowd with lofty ambitions, basically. It was,
yeah. I mean, I still managed to. A lot of us still managed to pronounce matter with 2 D's in it.
Matter. Yeah.
Matter.
And then
brilliant. And you've got that now to keep.
We've all got it to keep. We will put it somewhere on the internet. And maybe we should do like some sort of Journal 27-esque puzzle. So we don't just like slap it out there.
You got to earn it.
Yeah. I will figure out a way to get it to people.
If we had a Kickstarter, this would be something we'd give as a little backers exclusive.
And as a final tease, and this will, and I will, if you ever see me and you hand me a bag of Co-op Guernsey sea salt and Chardonnay vinegar crisps, I will give you the download code to Don't Stop Believing, as sung by Peter Willington as Daniel Frost, appearing to take on some characters of sex pests.
It was the grubbiest, dirtiest version of the song
and managing
I've ever heard.
to change quite a reasonably okay love song into something quite threatening and very disturbing,
quite menacing.
One day we'll let that out.
But I think
the world is not yet ready for it.
But I think,
as I said, like a plague.
Before we do, I think you will both have to go through some sort of background checks and have that as like the still image.
I blame Pete
because you don't want the first time it's heard to be in court.
I had no idea what was going on with the stag, as you might have gathered.
Yeah.
Already. So when Chris was kind of planning it, my main questions were what's the weather going to be like, and what board games do I need to bring, because those are my 2 questions I ask whenever I go anywhere, really. So, usual me, I packed lots. Cosmic Encounter. That
was a bit ambitious, that one.
Oh, that would have been lovely.
It would have been lovely.
But in my head, I had the expectation that it would be like the 4 of us, maybe 5 or 6 people left over at 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, let's
that's true.
Come on. But that never happened. And I'd also got given V Commandos for my birthday, which is a very great gift. And we will talk about it at some point on a future podcast. But I brought that for some reason. I also brought along Zoo Ball. Not knowing that Zubal's creator was a surprise guest to the stag, so that was an endearing image. And Schummel Hummel and Cockroach Poker also came, and I also bought my Switch, loaded up with lots of fun things. But as often happens, we didn't play any of those.
No,
didn't touch them.
No.
Mainly because I think we landed on the hit game of the stag quite early on. Aforementioned creator of Zooball, which is like, oh, should we play TowerFall? And I think most of us say, like, what? TowerFall? And I kind of, when we started playing it, I kind of had a vague sort of echo of a sort of thinking that I've seen it somewhere. And Pete, you'd mentioned that it's pretty much been everywhere for however long.
Yep.
And the art style is very similar to, because it's made by Matt Makes Games, I want to say. The people who made Celeste.
TowerFall Games. Let's find out. It's by...
Go on.
Matt Makes Games.
Thank you. And so they made Celeste. So it's kind of a similar style, and the movement of the characters is very, very simple. And the premise of the game is very, very easy. You are all archers in a combat arena, and it's the last one alive wins. And you fire bows, and you jump around all these different procedurally generated places, and try and murder each other. And it was really, really good fun. It just kind of captured that perfect mood that we wanted to kind of foster with a stag party. It was like a really easy game to get hold of, 2 button presses, and that's all the game is. But also it was great for other people to watch who didn't really want to play. It was like a very good spectator sport. And immediately when I came home, I put it on my Switch wish list as kind of like, I need to have this ready to go in case like some people come around or whatever to play, because it's really, really good. In the same way that Overcooked is like exceptionally simple to get hold of, a premise that everyone can easily understand, but no one feels excluded from if they, don't want to play, or even if they find it too difficult, you never feel like you're left behind.
And you also always feel like once you do get the hang of it after 2 or 3 minutes, you always feel like you're doing rubbish or amazingly well.
Yeah,
and that can change at the flip of a coin, basically, because even when I was late to the party, you guys had started playing, and I joined in first few rounds, I was obviously going to be crap, but I never ever felt disheartened because I'd seen how quickly the front runner can suddenly slip to the back. Oh,
it does that mainly through a really, really simple balancing mechanic. So I think when you first start the game from scratch, you each get like 3 arrows each. However, as the game goes on, the person who's got the most kills, and it's like first 10 kills wins, starts the match with less and less arrows. And like the more kills you get, I think you might even start off some match with just 1 arrow. However, if you're at the bottom of that scale, you'll start off with more arrows, and you'll be given a shield, which kind of gives you like an extra life. So it balances out the game really, really simply. So if you're not doing well, you never really feel like it.
It's a bit like Mario Kart or Crash Team Racing, where if you're at the back, when you go to hit through the crates and things, the weapons you get are always noticeably more powerful.
Yeah, but in Mario Kart that feels slightly cheap, because know that you're picking up more powerful stuff than the person in front. So whereas in TowerFall it feels a lot more. Your victories feel a lot more deserved. You've got a bit of an advantage over the enemy, but it's not so much that it feels like a really, a cheap victory.
TowerFall also resulted in a single crystallizing moment of demonstrating the difference between the generations, where at one point I was standing in the kitchen, looking at everybody, all the younger generation sat around the dining table, because like the TV screen was at the end of the room, playing TowerFall, and I kind of wandered in to just check because Sam, your dad, and Elise said were in the room, checking they were okay if they needed anything. And I walked in to find them both sat on the sofa watching Dad's Army, and I was like, this is just kind of so crystallized, the two different generations, just separate rooms. One's playing video games, the other's watching Dad's Army.
But as a mark of respect, we didn't kick them out of the living room. Instead, like, the 9 of us went and sat around the kitchen table and played.
York is beautiful, isn't it?
It's some great pubs. We had some street food in town as well.
It also has a fantastic marketplace, the Shambles Market. We went somewhere. The only place I've ever known that's sort of similar to that, and there probably is hundreds and hundreds of places like that, is the Caravan that we went to in Budapest. Like, just a place where I'm really in the mood for bloody hell, they sell it. Like, where you just wander around and there's something literally for every single food taste.
You travel the world in like just one little market, basically.
It was great.
But we went back and we had a curry takeaway, and we played a little tweaking on one of your favourite games, Sam.
My favourite party game, Monikers. We played,
or as we like to call it, Samikers.
So Samikers are popular. If you've never played Monikers before, you have things on the card that can be anything from a hamburger to the Unabomber.
That's where you went.
A light and frothy card game for all ages.
That is generally something on a Monikers card. So you can go from that to your awful uncle or Niam cat. Those kind of things, like popular things that everyone will know. In the first round,
variety.
Yeah, a variety of things. In the you build a deck of cards from the group. In the first round, you can use all the words you want except for the actual thing you're trying to describe it to your teammates. In the second round, you are using the same deck of cards, but you can only say one word. And in the third round, you're using the same deck of cards, but it's charades. Or charades. Who knows? So Samikers was exactly the same as Monikers, but every single card had a moment from my life or a thing I'd said or something that I had done. The selection on offer were very good, and most of them revolved around me crying, me in the shower, or a combination of the two.
Yeah.
So it's fabulous, and the whole weekend itself was wrapped up the only way a stag weekend for me can be, which was doing an escape room on the Sunday and visiting a board game shop, which is kind of
lovely.
Most of my weekends, really. We went to Great Escape in York, which was fantastic, and made even more so by the fact that our team got onto the leaderboard. We're in the top 10. Best times.
We're going to hear about that quite a lot.
Yep.
Well,
but Pete got to wear a policeman's hat throughout the entire escape room.
I did,
and he wore it at a jaunty angle.
Oh, it was so good.
Except
wasn't it good though?
But when you wore the same police hat outside of the escape room, you looked more like a sailor or a train conductor than any man of authority. As I mentioned before, it's a weekend that's left me starving, ravenous. I feel like
I've snacked a lot today.
Yeah. I feel like a computer that needs defragging, which is probably the best way I could put it. Like, I just need a bit of my C drive rebuilt, and I'll be all right. But yeah, very humbling, and I think I eulogised. That's not the right word. I think I preached at Pete at some point on the first evening about how it was all very overwhelming, but lovely, and I couldn't have wished for a nicer bunch of friends.
I think that was when Pete came into the pub and said, "Sam's been giving me a speech. Now I've just bundled him into Chris's car.
Yeah,
I'm taking him home."
like
with no context.
Yeah.
We all kind of went, "Yeah, then fair enough. Yeah,
right.
sounds about right."
Fair enough. He's had 15 beers. It's probably about time.
15 beers, and he was slowly sliding his way down the chair onto the floor in the pub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's some wonderful imagery. I think Chris, you did an absolutely bang up job.
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
And Sam, you absolutely deserved a bang up job.
Completely.
Who's next?
I'll have another one.
All right, Dan. We'll get on it.
All right, I've got a bit of work to do first, but I'll let you know.
got a difficult conversation. We've had another listener question sent to us through all the usual means. That's Twitter and Facebook at StayingInPod.
Wonderful. And then
stayinginpod@gmail.com is the email address if you want to send us an old-fashioned physical tweet. You send us questions via all of those methods, and please do, because we actually are running out now. So the question this time comes from @Games247.
Hello there.
Always up. Always ready.
And they ask, which of the current squad at Aston Villa makes the best cup of tea and has the keenest eye for painting miniatures. My guess would be John McGinn. Now, I think at Games247 is saying that John McGinn would make both the best cup of tea and the keenest eye for painting miniatures. I'm glad I asked this one myself. I've got to say, I think it's probably going to be Jed Steer, or possibly Alan Hutton.
Okay, so hang on, I just say
two,
Pete has gone for probably two of the first names on the team sheet that he has seen.
Okay.
I think we can answer this as a team. I think we can work together and answer this as a team. So I think, Pete, you tell us what are the key kind of skills, that kind of general skills that one would need to be proficient at miniatures.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Chris, you say what are the key skills that would make you proficient in making tea. Sam, you convert those into footballing skills, and then I will then assign those skills to an Aston Villa player. Together, we can answer this correctly.
I think the key skill is really is threefold. It's gentleness, patience, and an eye for detail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that's what you need, I think, for painting miniatures to a high degree, or at least to a basic degree, I would say. Gentleness, and the other two things that I said.
Chris, how about you? What are the skills that one needs to make an excellent cup of tea?
I think possessing the right amount of nervous energy.
What? What's that got to do with making tea?
Knowing exactly how long the tea bag should steep for in the teapot without using a timer. Just sensing, or without even having to look in the pot. You just know.
Being a natural.
When that bag is steeped.
Yeah.
So patience, really, in that regard, which again correlates with what Pete's just said. An ability to be comfortable performing in extremely hot temperatures. We've all had that teapot which, has leaked a bit as you're pouring it.
Yep.
So those qualities, really. Patience and asbestos fingers.
Okay, so now we have the core kind of foundations of the skill set. Now, Sam, it's your job is to convert that into footballing skill set. And then I will then assign that to an Aston Villa player who best meets all of these requirements. And then we would give possibly the most educated answer we have ever given on this podcast.
All right. So it seems to me like you want someone with patience. Both Pete and Chris said patience was a massive skill in both making tea and painting miniatures. And Chris specifically, like patience, but also having a keen knowledge of the passage of time. So I think you will need a footballer who is very good at time management. So therefore, the clock's getting to 90 minutes, we're winning, shove it in the corner, lads. Very aware of, oh no, hang on, we've got a couple minutes, we need to see out this game, or we really need to go for it. And maybe a footballer who is very good at taking penalties, because that's a very you got to be patient sometimes, because the goalkeeper's doing that wobbly spaghetti legs like Bruce Grobbelaar, or the referee's doing nonsense, or it's not quite on the spot, mate. Like all that kind of stuff. And nervous energy. So you would want a footballer who maybe is sometimes a little bit rash in the tackle, and not a rash on his tackle, but rash in a tackle. Those are two very different things.
Yeah, don't get them confused.
No, one requires cream.
Yeah.
My feeling is leaning towards like a defensive midfielder role, I feel, kind of.
If it was Man United circa the 90s, Paul Scholes immediately comes to mind. Rash in the tackle, good at a penalty, and can manage himself under pressure.
I think that's what it said in those Premier League sticker books next to his name.
alongside good at miniatures and cups of tea.
So yeah,
I mean, based on those, I mean, what the questioner suggesting, John McGinn, that's not a bad shout. He's rushing the tackle. He's quite he runs around a lot. He's quite spontaneous. I don't feel like he'd be a good fit for the patience. I'm fancying perhaps someone who works well under pressure, takes control. Perhaps young Jack Grealish might be better on this. He's very calm. He's very skillful, so delicate.
I'm looking at a picture of him now, and he does look like a good boy.
And is that what you look for in a miniature painter?
Yeah, he looks like the sort of Jack Grealish. First of all, great name. Second of all, he looks like the sort of guy that you would, you'd take him home to your parents. But more importantly than that, when you took him to your grandparents, your granddad would be like, "Oh, he's a good lad," and your grandma would be like, "Fancy him a little bit, just a little bit." Do you know what I mean?
He's a good-looking boy. He really is.
He's a good-looking boy, but he's also a nice-looking boy, well presented, clean. Whereas when I contrast that to Scott Hogan,
okay,
currently on loan, of course, Dan.
Obviously, yeah.
He looks like maybe he would say he was going to tarmac your drive, but he would take the 30 quid and then just like go away afterwards and not really do it.
He'd just sprinkle some gravel down and say, "That's it, done."
He'd be like, "That's it, done."
Hang on, Pete. What fairy tale world are you living in that tarmacking the drive is only 30 quid? Or is that like a 10% deposit? Or
yeah, no, no. What I'm saying is Scott Hogan would say, "Oh, I could do that for a bet, like for a price that you think, really? Can I really do that? Oh, well, it's only 30 quid. How bad can it be?" And the badness comes when Scott just runs away.
Still wearing his football boots.
obviously, Scott Hogan is not here to defend himself, and
It's true. It's true. Whereas his colleague Keenan Davis looks like he'd do a bang-up job of it.
Do you have to tarmac much in miniature painting?
No, sadly not.
That's kind of really heavy-duty miniatures, then.
Because it's very rare that you get indoor tarmacking.
Yeah. So are we agreed then? Are we agreed on the good boy?
I think the good boy would be the best fit for this particular task.
So we're going to go with Jack Grealish.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, well, tough luck, Tom Carroll. Your turn may be next, but not right now.
I'm just enjoying hearing Pete just rattle off random names that he reads.
I won't even try and pronounce that one. There's like a J after a B. I don't even know what that means.
Christopher Darby.
that was Staying In with Peter Willington, Daniel Frost, Chris Darby, and myself, Sam Turner. Now, as we mentioned in the podcast, there is a version of Bohemian Rhapsody that now exists somewhere on the internet with our voices in it, as well as everyone else who attended the stag. I hope they're okay with that. They will be left unidentified. If you want to find out where that song is, then please keep your eyes tuned to our Twitter and Facebook pages to search at Staying In Pod. Those are also brilliant places to go if you want to catch up with what we're up to. Please send us a question. We love them. Silly, funny, serious, engaging. We want them all. So please just send us a question whilst you're listening to us singing Bohemian Rhapsody. I think that's the best exchange rate for our embarrassment. Don't forget, we also have the curation pages on Steam and Board Game Geek. Brilliant places to go if you want to find the stuff that we love in board and video game form. But for now, that's it from this episode of the Staying In Pod. Tell your friends, listen to Bo Rap, sing along with us. Until next time, goodbye.